I want to, if you don't mind, brothers and sisters, if you don't mind if I just talk to you today in addressing certain issues that confront us as a people. The subject for today is understanding racism. Understanding racism. What it is and how it works. After being in Holly Springs, Mississippi this weekend, and listening to other colleagues addressing the plight of our people, you know, every now and then it's kind of good to just get away and be revived yourself, you know. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, but sometimes you give and you give out, you give out, you give out, you give out. Every now and then you need to sit and take in. You understand what I'm saying? And so in addition to having to do a lecture myself, it was just good to sit there and listen to other scholars who have put their energy and their life into addressing our needs as a people. One of the speakers there this weekend was our sister warrior in the struggle for African liberation, Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. Now, I don't know how many of you have ever heard her. I don't know how many of you have ever, right. Sister's absolutely awesome. For those of you who do not know, she is the author of the book called The ISIS Papers, The Keys to the Colors. And just listening to Dr. Welsing was a revival for me. And I want to address that point of concern today that she speaks about, I have spoken about, Neely Fuller speaks about, Asa Hilliard speaks about, Dr. Yosef Ben Yakinen speaks about, or Dr. John Henry Clark spoke about, Dr. Amos Wilson spoke about, Dr. Chancellor Williams spoke about, Dr. Shikanta Diop spoke about. All of these African scholar warriors and warrior scholars try to address these concerns to help us wake up as a people. Within the context of what I want to talk about today, and again, today's subject is understanding racism. Now, I know many of you might not even think that you are involved in racism. If that's what you think, you really need to hear this message today. If you think for one moment that you are not in the picture of racism or what is synonymously known as white supremacy, then you really need to hear this message today. Everybody repeat this after me. There are three basic types of people in the world. Say that. There are three basic types of people in the world. The first type is white people. The second type is non-white people. And the third type is white supremacists. Did y'all get that? Out of these three classes or types, you have white people, non-white people, and white supremacists. So you'll be clear in our communication this morning, white people are people who classify themselves as white. And they have been classified as white. They've been accepted as white by other people who are classified as white. And they generally function as white. in all of the 9 major areas of people activity. Non-white people, so you follow me well now, understand this. Non-white people are people who have been classified as non-white and who generally function as non-white in their relationships with each other and with people classified as white in all of the 9 major areas of people activity. Then you have that third group, what we call white supremacists. White supremacists, or what I also call racists, are people who classify themselves as white and who generally function as white. But they practice racial subjugation based on white, non-white classifications against people classified as non-white in all 9 areas of people activity. So that you'll know what those 9 areas are, repeat them after me. Economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. Everything that happens in your life comes in one of those 9 areas. And you need to know how to deal with what's going on in the world around you in each of those 9 areas. I want to give you several points today in helping you to understand racism. The first thing we need to understand is the truth. Because see, if you don't know the truth, then the rest of your thesis, the rest of your understanding is all going to be wrong. So the first thing we need to understand is the truth. What is the truth about racism? What is the truth about white supremacy? What do you mean, Pastor Ray, when you say racism? Look at the person next to you and say, a black person cannot be a racist.
A black person cannot be a racist.
Please understand that. Now, a black person may be prejudiced.
Yes.
Anybody can be prejudiced. Anybody can be a bigot.
Yes.
But in order to be a racist, you have to have the power to subjugate another people of another color. Look at the person next to you and say, we don't have the power to hold anybody down but ourselves. Y'all with me on that? We can't stop the Arabs. We can't hold down the Chinese. And we sure enough ain't holding no white folk down. Okay? But yet we have been subjugated or suppressed or oppressed by white supremacy. Racism, as I've said, and white supremacy is synonymous. When I say racism, I mean white supremacy. You need to understand, brothers and sisters, when I say racism, I'm not just talking about what goes on in St. Louis.
All right.
When I say racism, I'm not just talking about within the borders of the state of Missouri.
All right.
I'm not even just talking about in the South or the North or the East or the West or in the United States or North America. When I say racism, I'm talking about a global system that is in place strategically and working very well according to its agenda. Racism is a global system of behavior among persons who classify themselves as white, whether consciously or subconsciously. Everybody repeat this after me. The objective of racism is white genetic survival on planet Earth. Did y'all hear me? Please understand, people, when we see racists don't hate you. It's not about hate. It's not about not liking black people. Now, believe me, there are some white folk who don't like black people, but that's not what racism is about. That's internal confusion on that person's part. I'm talking about a system that is in place for a particular purpose. Now, why does this exist? You must understand, brothers and sisters, that white genes are in danger of being annihilated. I don't care how you try to deal with it, when you mix a colored person, whether they're black, brown, red, or yellow, with a person who is classified as white, when they have a baby, that baby is coming out colored. That's what we're dealing with here. It's called, see, you got to understand, white genes are recessive. Can I speak scientific with y'all for a moment here? White genes are recessive. Black genes are dominant. It's not our fault. Don't blame us. That's how God made us. That's what that's about. So you got to understand, y'all, there's a little piece of land on the planet. It's a very tiny, small piece of land called Europe. Very small piece of land north of Africa called Europe.
Yes, sir.
And the inhabitants of Europe make up less than 10% of the world population. Y'all following this thing? See, in the 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th centuries, when the Europeans, when Columbus and them got lost, got me? When they got lost and landed in every port they went to, guess what they saw? They saw colored folk. They saw black folk, brown folk, red folk, yellow folk, all types of shades of people. And they came to realize everywhere we go, we see people of color. That's when Europe realized that if we don't do something,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
we're not going to exist much longer genetically. So that's when the programs went in place to deal with the threat of genetic annihilation of white folk. Now that's the truth. Y'all don't have to take my word for it. Look around you and see by way of what you've seen, or go try an experiment. Go get some white anything and put some color in it and tell me what happened. Y'all understand what I'm saying? That's because black, all colors come from black. That's scientifically fact. No color comes from white because white is recessive. Now, that understanding, the next thing you need to do is, what are you going to do about the truth that you understand? Everybody repeat this with me. This is Neely Fuller's phrase. Unless you understand white supremacy, and of course I do mean racism when I say that, what it is and how it works, everything else you understand will only confuse you. Did I lose y'all?
No, sir.
You must, brothers and sisters, see, for example, yesterday I had a young lady come and challenge a point that I had made in my lecture. She wanted to know, what difference does it make if Jesus is white? That's what she wanted to know. And I said, sweetheart, you missed the whole point because you're not looking through the lens of white supremacy. Once you look through the lens of white supremacy, you'll see why they would take a character who's supposed to be out of Africa and make him white. You see, I mean, once you look through the lens of white supremacy, what difference does it make? Why, it made big enough difference for them to paint him white. I mean, first of all, it made a big enough difference to create him in the first place. And then when they created him, they made him white. What difference does it make? That ought to tell you something. It's about white supremacy. Because when your God and Savior and your master and enslaver look just alike. Y'all don't like what I'm saying. As I said, brothers and sisters, racism is a system. It's a global system. It's not just confined here to St. Louis.
All right, sir.
Everything that is done in society, everything that is done in economics, everything that is done in education, everything that is done in the area of entertainment, everything that is done in labor, everything that is done in the area of law, everything that is done in the area of politics, everything that is done in the area of religion, everything that's done in the area of sex, and everything that's done in the area of war is to foster and promote white supremacy. Y'all think I'm playing? Why y'all think the most highest paid athlete in the history of the world, named Tiger Woods, done went and made his hair blonde? Oh, y'all didn't know that? Tiger Woods is now blonde. Y'all didn't know that? Why do you think, brothers and sisters? Well, y'all know he's. Why do you think that the highest paid entertainer, singer, has now become a white boy? Come on, y'all, think. In the area of entertainment, it's deep, people. Who was the football player, basketball player they had him dress up in a wedding dress? Oh, y'all know this, huh? They ain't putting no white athlete in no wedding dress. Think, people. Everything. It's about white supremacy. The April 9th, 1991 issue of Time magazine, the front cover read these words: "What will happen when whites are no longer the majority in America?" That's a concern for them.
Yes, it is.
Serious concern.
Yes, it is.
Let me show you how deep this thing goes, brothers and sisters. And I hope I make sense to you in this. Y'all don't mind if I talk like this, right?
That's all right.
Come on, I'm a little tired today. I don't really feel like hollering too much, okay? Now, I might get carried away, you know. There's this thing called the male genitals.
Come on now.
The male genitals is the symbol of white supremacy, in case y'all didn't know it. Now, I'm going to tell you why I say that. Everybody repeat this after me. Only the male, has the power, to impose sexual intercourse. Let me show you what I'm talking about. A man, or male, I'm not going to call him a man, I'm going to say a male. A male can walk up to a woman and put a knife to her throat or a gun to her head and make her engage in a sexual act. We call that rape. Right? Because the male genitals can work under those circumstances. Woman, you try walking up to a brother and put a gun to his head and say, have sex with me. Ain't nothing happening, Sister Jones. You try putting a knife to a man's throat and say, if you don't have sex with me, I'm going to cut your throat. You know why that ain't going to happen? Because fear and erection cannot coexist. Y'all hear what I'm saying? So therefore, the male is the only person who has the power to impose sexual intercourse, whether it's wanted or not. That means that the male genitals is a weapon. Black males, you need to understand that. When they say he's considered armed and dangerous, that's what they're talking about. You don't even have to have a gun. You have a weapon that can annihilate them genetically. Yeah, buddy. Why do you think, brothers and sisters, think, why is it that over 3 million black male slaves were castrated? Come on here. Or lynched. Because if you lynch them or castrate them, guess what? The risk of white genetic annihilation is reduced. But that slave master didn't waste no time imposing sexual intercourse on those black female slaves. Castrated the brother. I'm getting ready to take y'all there now. How many of y'all have ever heard of the bull? Y'all know what a bull is? Y'all know what a bull is, right? Yeah. In case y'all didn't know this, brothers and sisters, the bull is the symbol of Osiris. Asar. The word Asar or Osiris means the perfect black. Are y'all following me here? Now, follow this well. Follow this well. Bull's testicles. Can I educate y'all now? I said, well, we ain't used to hear this from no pulpit. Hang around a while. Hang around a while. Bull's testicles is one of the most outstanding delicacies in Europe for European males. Why do European males like eating bull's testicles?
Educator.
Talk back to me, black folk. Why do you think they like eating bull's testicles? Why is it a delicacy? Because the bull, again, represents the perfect black. And somewhere in their sick, twisted mind, they literally think that eating the testicles of the black bull is going to do something about fostering their own strength. I hope this ain't too heavy for y'all now. Go fan if you have to, you know. There is this thing called Serlo's Dictionary of Symbols. In Serlo's Dictionary of Symbols, it states these words, and follow me well. It says, the bull is the historic symbol of the Aryan superiority over the Negro. Yeah. Never heard that one before while I was preaching. I've heard, help him, Lord. I heard it. Yeah, I hear you, I got you. Serlo's Dictionary of Symbols states that the bull is the historic symbol of the Aryan superiority over the Negro. Now that you understand this, black people, you can understand what's so special about the bullfight. Why do they have the bullfight? Because what you see is that which is symbolic of the strong black African man is being killed slowly by a little skinny white man with a red cloth. It's showing the white male superiority over the symbol of the black male. That's what bullfight is all about. You want to fight? Why don't you get in there and fight a lion? Do that, hold that little cloth out over a lion. There you two. Let me go deeper than that, since I'm dealing with symbology here. Because see, in a few weeks, y'all gonna be buying this stuff. We got this messed up day coming called Valentine's Day. Go back. And y'all don't even know that when you go out and buy chocolate covered nuts, that's what this is about, people. Eating chocolate covered nuts. That's what Valentine's Day is all about. It is chocolate, y'all. Chocolate candy. And it's really awesome because those who classify themselves as white have an obsession and a need to absorb things that are dark. Africans didn't eat chocolate. In fact, chocolate is the worst thing you can eat because it doesn't leave your body. Chocolate, you have to literally remove it from your body with a high fiber type laxative because it literally adheres to your intestinal lining. Chocolate just doesn't, it wasn't made for our bodies, and Africans didn't eat chocolate. White folk ate chocolate. Now we have become like white folk and we now like chocolate. Coffee, Coke, all this dark stuff. White folk understand this dark stuff called melanin. You know what's deep? Can I refer to your example, Linda, with what she shared with us the other day? The other day, Linda came in our 9 o'clock session, and she was telling me how it was a white minister, you said, right? A white minister came to Linda and said to her, "You're rich." And of course, Linda thought he meant, monetarily, economically. She said, "No, I'm not rich either." He said, "Yes, you are. You have something in you called melanin." Isn't that deep? Oh, yeah. And then she had her ankh on, and he acknowledged the ankh. as the African symbol of eternal life.
Yes, yes.
Why is it, black folk, that white people know more about us than we know about ourselves? Why is that? Oh, that's some deep stuff. We hate melanin. And that's one of the reasons why we have no problem killing each other, because we hate ourselves. As a result of hating melanin, we lack unity. We lack the power to bring about justice among ourselves. We have been programmed to mistreat each other. It's sad when a little black female child will throw a tangent because she can't have that white doll instead of that black doll. Something's wrong when a little girl will look at a black doll and feel that it's ugly. Why do we hate melanin so? Why? Why do we hate melanin so? I'll tell you why. Because of little simple song rhymes that have been programmed into our head, like, if you're black, stay back. Y'all know it? Yeah. If you're brown, oh, y'all got it. Stick around. If you're yellow, you're mellow. And if you're white, how'd y'all learn this song? Programming. Isn't that deep? You know, it sounds good, it rhymes, but notice the message. If you're black, get back. If you're brown, stick around. If you're yellow, you're mellow. But if you're white, you're all right. Look at the person next to you and say, that's sick. White folk know the benefits of melanin. That's why they lay out under these tanning machines. Let me explain something to y'all. Black folk don't lay under tanning machines. Now let me tell you what's so important about the tanning machines. Y'all don't mind this information, do you? Huh? I mean, okay, all right. See, tanning, let me tell you what tanning does. There's this thing in us called melanocytes. And tanning forces the melanocytes, which, by the way, in white people don't produce melanin. Under ultraviolet rays, melanocytes are to produce an enzyme called tyrosinase, which is essential for the production of melanin. Now, see, y'all, we don't know any better, so we don't understand that God put in us an automatic sunblock. We don't understand it. See, we got black folk going out buying sunblock because you don't know no better. That chemical in you called melanin makes you one with the sun. That thing in you called melanin truly makes you a child of the S-U-N. Y'all understand what I'm saying? Whites have an absence of tyrosinase. The absence of this enzyme called tyrosinase is what we know as albinism. How many of you know what an albino is? An albino is a person who lacks melanin, whose eyes have become unnaturally colored and their hair has become unnaturally colored. That is what you call a genetic mutation. Am I clear here?
Yes.
This is a genetic mutation or deficiency. This is why white people take very dark substances into their bodies. What we've been programmed to hate, something called melanin, those who classify themselves as white adore it. Did y'all hear me? For example, let's notice some more symbols here. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Again, now, you got to look at this through the lenses of what? White supremacy. Francis uses this analogy, Dr. Welsing, the ball games. Everybody say this: big brown balls.
Big brown balls.
Don't get carried away. I'm talking about balls that you play with. You know, I said that, folks. Let me tell you what the big brown balls are. First one is called football. Isn't it ironic that the big brown balls denote powerful men? The football player. Look how massive he is and how built he is and how powerful he is. Well, isn't it ironic, brothers and sisters, that the whole object of football is to get this big brown ball through two white legs at the end of the field? Can I tell it like it is? I told you people, you gotta look at it through the eyes of white supremacy. Why is it that the ball is brown and the legs at the end of the field are white? Can I give you another one?
Yes, sir.
Another big brown ball, basketball.
Hold on.
The whole object is to get this big brown ball into this white hole called a net. I want to hear about Jesus. Go down the street. That's why you're not liberated now. You've been hearing the same thing all your life. Look at the person next to you and say, it's time for change. The original soccer ball was not white and black or white and spotted. The original soccer ball was brown leather. The whole object is to get this big brown soccer ball up into this white net at the end of the field. Another big, powerful black ball called a bowling ball. Oh, now they make them in rainbow colors for you. But originally it was black. And the whole goal of the black bowling ball with its power is to go down the road and knock up as many white, shapely women called pins as it can. Y'all see this thing? Another big brown ball that white men appreciate called the medicine ball.
Yes, sir.
That they throw at each other, these white men, and they catch this big ball so it'll make a man out of them. Those are the big brown balls. Then you got the little white balls.
All right. Talk about it. Talk about it.
Y'all with me? I ain't getting too hot now. I'm talking about balls you play with here, y'all.
All right.
But see, you don't see the symbology of it. It's not about a game or sport. They telling you something. Little white ball called a ping pong ball. Little tiny white ball. And used on the original ping pong paddle, and now they're all colored paddles. White ball making contact with colored paddles. Another little white ball called tennis. See, y'all don't understand the originality of all this. The original tennis nets, rackets were black threaded. And this white ball's object was to make contact with this black threaded racket. Another little white ball called a golf ball. The whole object of the game is to get this little white ball into a black hole of Mother Earth. Y'all hearing this? Baseball, little white ball. Whole object of that picture is to take that ball and throw it, whoa, not to the back, but to be caught by that brown, melaninated catcher's mitt. Look at somebody next to you and say, I'm starting to see what he's talking about here. You got to see through the eyes of white supremacy. There's another little white ball called the cue ball. Y'all following me now? This little white ball called a cue ball, it represents world domination. Because the pool table is green, which represents the planet. And all of the other balls are different colors, which represents other nationalities. Is this making sense to y'all? And the whole object of the game is to conquer or remove the other colored balls off the table, but it doesn't win the game until that white ball knocks that black ball into that hole. I got a suggestion. Let's make the 8-ball the cue ball and win the game by knocking the cue ball, which is white, off the planet. Oh, somebody didn't like that one. Why is it that the big browns are symbolic of power? Why is it that powerful white men don't smoke little white cigarettes? They gotta smoke big brown cigars. What's up with that? It's racism. Subconsciously, they don't even know it. Men of power feel that that cigar signifies their position. Smoking the pipe, big black brown pipe, smoked by powerful men. Little weak men get into cigarettes, used by those who are more effeminate. Then there's the black mantle. I can't leave that out. Y'all want to know where the black robe concept came from? Because white men realize that in order to be powerful, you have to be robed or clothed in blackness. That's why every judge, and it used to be every preacher, till now they done got a little mixed up there too, but every judge who sits behind the bench has to wear a black mantle called a robe. And what I'm trying to get my black brothers to understand is you was born with a black mantle on you. When you take off your clothes, brother, you got on a black mantle. Oh, shucks now. Let me get good here. Get real good in this thing. I get carried away and get to kicking everything up here. I told y'all that there's a weapon that every black man has. Yeah, so when the cop says he's got a weapon, they mean that. You don't have to have a gun on you. Your genitals, black man, is a weapon. It's a threat to every white man on this planet. Woo, buddy. So therefore, the white man has created this thing called the equalizer. It's called the gun. Old they used to call it the fire stick. Thunder stick, because of how much noise it made. But check this out. No device on this planet has been more fatal to the black man than the gun. Why is it that black males like guns so bad? Why? What is it about guns that make black males feel like they're doing something or like there's somebody because they got a gun? Oh, y'all follow this. When a black male has been emasculated, castrated psychologically, the only thing he has to help make him a man is reach up under his jacket and pull out a gun and say, "What you say?"
That's right. That's right.
That becomes his symbol of power. And if you look at the gun, you'll see that it's nothing but an erection, and the handle or the grip is there represent the genitals.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
So the gun is symbolic of male genital power. The black male genitals, yes, is a weapon. And when we begin to understand white supremacy, we'll better understand the pathology of destruction within the black community. I hope this is making sense to y'all. Y'all tired? Oh, okay. I'm almost finished. We must intensify our consciousness and our efforts against white supremacy, not against each other. I don't think you heard what I said. We who have become victims of white supremacy are so busy fighting each other instead of fighting white supremacy. Be like the letter that was left on a Cook County jail by a white man thanking the black man for doing their job. Said, "Thank you, black man, for doing what we wanted to do. We have you to thank for killing off one another, because you killing each other off, we don't have to do it now." You understand what I'm saying? Why are black people specifically attacked more than any other race? Because black people have the highest level of melanin production. Again, that which makes us genetically dominant. Now you see why there's such an attack on the black male child. Every young black male in here under 12 years old, please stand up. In fact, black males stand up. It ain't just under 12. Black males. Let me explain something to you. Those of you who are standing, God, thank God for all these brothers in here. Those of you who are standing up, let me explain something to you. There is a strategic design in place to remove the spirit of warriorhood from each of you. You must understand that if their plan works, it will result in you losing the warrior spirit. And it will result in you becoming passive. And then you will move from passivity to effeminization. And then you will move from effeminization to bisexuality. And then you will move from bisexuality to homosexuality. It doesn't matter to them. And for those of you who insist on remaining strong black warriors, they have to kill you. That's right. So brothers, those of you who are standing, we understand this process, and we ask that you see each other. Look around and look at your brother and realize who you must support. Realize who you must become one with, and realize that all of us together have to ask the ancestors to guide and protect us. You may be seated, black men. Thank you for standing. The goal is genocide or white genetic survival. It doesn't matter if you're gay. That's what they want you to be. Black man, when you reach the point of not wanting a black woman, racism has done its job in you. What in the world? I take that back, brother Evans. What in the universe is better than a black woman? Can I get a witness? What? God didn't make anything better than a black woman. Good Lord, have mercy. And racism wants you, black male, to not want that black woman. It wants you to not want women at all. And then if you must have a woman, it wants you to want a white woman. And then if you can't stop there, it wants you to become straight up gay. That's right. I was getting ready to try to act it for y'all, but I don't do that too good. That's one I can't act too well, brother. I don't even play that. You understand what I'm saying? And for those, like I said, who insist on being strong, then there's two other options. Let's get him locked up, which is the biggest money-making business in the country right now. And if we can't keep him locked up, then let's manipulate his early demise or death. Y'all think this thing is blind? Listen, y'all, how many of y'all ever seen a chess game? Which side moves first? Why? Who said? Why can't the black move first?
That's right. That's right.
Because that's the rules of their game. White must move first because white is the offensive. Let me give some solutions. How do we stop racism? Do you stop racism by saying, I listen to Pastor Hagins and I'm ready to go out here and bust some heads? No, that is not how you address racism. I listen to Pastor Hagins, you wait till I see one of them. I'm like, no, that's not how you address racism. The only way, repeat this, the only way to address racism and stop it is to be aware of how it works. That's how you stop racism. If we see it for what it is, racism will become paralyzed. And as a result of being paralyzed, it will end up being powerless. Racism is powerful, y'all, because we play into the hands of it. Those who know that there's no such thing as a white Jesus will let you know that we did this for y'all. We created this so that through psychoengineering, you would see your savior and your oppressor as one and the same. Thereby, it will be hard for you to retaliate against us who have oppressed you, because every time you see us, you see your savior. That's the power of the mind. We must appropriate the 7 principles of Kwanzaa, which we just celebrated, and we need to do it all year long. Unity. Come together, people. Have a sense of purpose, people. Be creative and define for yourself who and what you are, instead of letting those who don't even like us define who and what we are. We must have faith in each other. We must have self-determination. Look at the person next to you and say, we got to get up and get busy. And don't give up. Determination. We must have collective responsibility. And we must have cooperative economics. Another way to deal with racism is to understand the 4 uses of time. Nobody can waste time like some of us can. I mean that. How do you improve how you spend your time? Everybody say this, may want to write it down. Say, I must begin to have constructive conversation. Now, what does that mean? That means, y'all, when you start talking about stuff, I want y'all to start thinking. When you start talking about stuff, listen to yourself.
Go ahead. Yeah.
And see what is the content of your conversation. If what's coming out of your mouth ain't worth nothing, then shut the blank up. That's what's hurting us. We spend more time running our mouth about junk. Some of you got the ministry of running your mouth about junk. You listening to? Yes, okay. Some of us got, I'm not saying that you do that, Doc, but when you hollered that I was talking, that's why some of us got the ministry of running your mouth about junk. Number 2, you must have constructive activity. Do things that bring positive results. Number 3, I'm getting ready to smack somebody now. These last 2 points, I know it's getting ready to hit us kind of hard, but I got to tell it. The 3rd thing is we must develop sufficient eating and sleeping habits. Look at the person next to you and say, you don't need to eat more than once a day. Now, I know somebody don't agree with that. Child, he ain't talking to me, honey. I got to have me 3 squares a day. Let me share something with you, brothers and sisters. That is not your metabolic makeup. You don't need to eat that much. Some of you live to eat instead of eating to live. Y'all follow what I'm saying? And it's evident. We hold this fact to be self-evident that some people eat too much. Become constructive in your activities, and you won't start eating senselessly. You know what I found out, and I'm serious about this. As a therapist and a counselor, I found that over 83% of people who are overweight eat out of being bored or miserable or unhappy. Find something to do with yourself besides going in the refrigerator. I'm serious. We're killing ourselves. And see, what happens is you eat stuff that you don't need to eat, and then after you eat it, it turns to liquor. And you get drunk. And you want to go to sleep. And then you wake up every week. Come on, child, I got to lose weight, honey. I got to lose me some weight, honey. Come on, people. Get involved in constructive activity. Here's the 4th one. Develop healthy habits of sexual intercourse. See how quiet it got? Now, what are you getting ready to say now? I got to rush, my time's almost up. But Frances says it this way, and I agree with her 100%. First of all, you don't need to be having sex before you're married. I'll say it again. You don't need to be having sex before you're married. And then you don't need to get married before you're 30 years old. But what I'm going to do all that time? Go to school. Prepare yourself for this war of our liberation. That's what I'm saying, y'all. We got parents who are children. How are we going to liberate ourselves? Okay, I'm move on, 'cause I can see y'all now. Y'all say, I can actually feel y'all's vibe. Please move on and get away from that point. We must experience transformation, brothers and sisters, by the renewing of our mind. You must get rid of the mind that was given to you. And once you understand, again, that it's all based on white supremacy, when you start looking at movies through the lenses of white supremacy, when you start going to the supermarkets and see white supremacy where the prices are higher in our community than the same supermarket than in another community, then you see that this thing is serious. When you see, brothers and sisters, that you have to pay more, not just for food, but for everything, maybe it will cause a few of us to realize we need to pool our economic resources and have our own. We must change how we think about ourselves. We must change how we think about each other. And experience victory and liberation.